Welcome back, class. This is Unit 8, the note packet. So we're starting a new unit here. It's equations and rates. We're looking at some proportions and solving again. And starting with Unit 8, Lesson 1, we're solving equations with the distributive property. So we're going to want to review both solving equations and review the distributive property. So again, when we're solving, we're going to want to isolate x, get it by itself. So we're going to do inverse operations. If it's x plus 3 equals negative 6, we're going to add a negative 3 or subtract 3 from both sides. This then becomes 0, and we have x equals negative 9. When we have the same sign here and we're adding, we keep our sign and then we add them together. In this next one, it's x minus 4, so we're going to want to add 4 to both sides. This becomes 0, so we have x equals just 13. And if you want to check them, you can by plugging them in and substituting. Substituting and then verifying that the equation is balanced. It's negative 2y, which is the same thing as negative 2 times y. So the inverse would be to divide both sides by negative 2 because we want y by itself. So then y equals, we have a quotient with different signs. 8 divided by negative 2 will be negative 4. Inverse operation, if it's plus 5, this time I'm going to add a negative 5 to both sides. So this becomes 0, and we have negative 4x equals 13 plus a negative 5 is the same thing as 13 minus 5, which is 8. Then we want to divide both sides by negative 4. So we're left with just x equals negative 2. And again, you can substitute all these values back into the equation to verify that the equation is balanced. Now let's review the distributive property. When we have 2 times a quantity, we're distributing the whole to each part. So that becomes 2 times x plus 2 times negative 3. We can simplify this to 2x plus negative 6. And you see that they both have a common factor of 2. Or maybe we're not there, but that's all right. Again, when we have a negative quantity like this is the same thing as negative x, where that represents negative 1 times x. So this is negative 1 times that. It's an implied coefficient that we need to distribute to each piece. That's negative 1 times 3x plus negative 1 times 4. We can simplify this product. We have different signs, so that's a negative 3x plus, again, we have different signs, so that'll be negative 4. That's the distributive property. So with that, now we can solve. So if we have an equation like this, first we'll want to use the distributive property to simplify. So we can distribute through so that we have 2x minus 2 times 4, which is the same thing as 2x minus 8 equals 12. I'm just dropping that down. Now we can do our inverse operations, and we're solving for x, so that we have 2x equals 12 plus 8 is 20. Divide by 2 on both sides. Again, what you do to the left, you must do to the right. So then x equals just 10 here. Distribute and solve. So we're going to distribute the negative 3 through. So when we do that, it becomes negative 3 times x plus a negative 3 times a negative 5. This is negative 3x plus this product. We have a negative times a negative, so that'll be a positive 15 equals 18. Now we can do our inverse operations. I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides since it's plus 15, so that sum is now 0, or that difference, is 0. Negative 3x equals 18. Oh, look at that, and then I added 15, so that'd be plus a negative 15, which is 3. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 3 because we want x by itself, a positive x, and then x equals negative 1. because 3 divided by 3 is 1, and if we have different signs, it'll be negative. Couple more. Distribute and solve. We're distributing the 4 to each part. So that becomes 4x plus 4 times negative 3 equals 16. We still need to simplify the left. 4x plus, it'll be a product with different signs, so it'll be a negative 12 equals 16. Now we can do our inverse operations. Since we're adding a negative 12, the opposite would be to add 12 to both sides. That then becomes 0, so we have 4x equals 16 plus 12 is going to be 28. And then we'll divide both sides by 4 since it's 4 times x. Now that simplifies to 1x, or just x, equals 28 divided by 4 is 7. One more distribution here. We're distributing the negative 2 through, and then we'll solve using inverse operations. So we have a negative 2 times a negative x plus a negative 2 times 6 equals negative 12. So we have to simplify these products. Negative times negative is positive, and then we're left with 2x plus, this is a negative times a positive, so it'll be a negative 12 equals negative 12. From here now, we're going to want to add 12 to both sides since it is plus a negative 12, so the inverse would be to add a positive 12 to both sides. Therefore, look at that. This difference is 0, so it's 2x equals, this difference is also 0. So we're left with 2x equals 0, where now when we divide both sides by 2 to get x by itself, we have x equals 0 divided by 2, and 0 divided by anything is just 0. So if we plugged in 0, we could check it. Why don't we do that on this one? I'm going to substitute 0 in back, not for negative, back for x right here. So then we have negative 2 times negative 0, that's just 0, plus 6 equals negative 12. We're going to verify that this equation is balanced. We must do parentheses first in order of operations. We have negative 0, or just 0, plus 6, which is 6. This is a product that is negative because we have a negative times a positive, and 6 times 2 is 12. So look at that, our equation is balanced. That is true. So that's how you could go back and check. And then I have 2 U tries. So U try where you distribute through both times, then simplify, and you'll have an x equals in both circumstances. All right, well, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you later. Bye.